Hello and good afternoon. Today is Sunday, May 18th, 2025. I'm Jay Essen. We are back with more The Little Match Girl. This time playing The Little Match Girl against the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls, which is one of the shorter games, sort of a spin-off title. It's still an important episode, but it does not have the I get a little ahead of myself here. As the description says, this short little game takes place mere weeks after the events of The Little Match Girl 4 by Hans Christian Andersen. So we are basically picking up right where we left off. And I just want to go ahead and confirm everything is broadcasting correctly. So let's go ahead and play it now. Hello, I am Hans Christian Andersen. Perhaps you are familiar with the Little Match Girl, a character I made up out of my own head and with her many adventures. No, no, I hear you cry. You mustn't call Ebenezabeth a little girl any longer. I quite understand you, reader. Ebenezabeth Scrooge is a strong young lady, with many accomplishments, with much hard-won wisdom. Indeed, she is stronger and a great deal cleverer than the silly old man who created her. But a word like little can mean many things, and so too can girl, and to string the words together only multiplies their possible significances. When I call my beloved Ebenezabeth the Little Match Girl, I mean one thing, and when a wicked person like the Queen of Vampires calls her a little girl, she means another thing entirely. And others will say little girl of other subjects, to mean other things, to show you that they believe such and so, or to convince you to believe this and that. Words are mere appearances, reader, and you must not let them hoodwink you. You must be the master of them, and not the other way round. You must be cleverer than words. A few of you will need to master... A few words you will need to master for this story are scan, transform, and focus, which, if you saw the previous stream, will recall were the commands to use the scanning lens, Ebenezabeth's ability to transform into a mouse, and her ability to focus and imbue her revolver with flame magic. Before we begin, you must press any key to continue a few times. Only 6, for now. The Little Match Girl against the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls. A Fairy Tale by Hans Christian Andersen, Release 1, Serial Number 240722, Inform 7, version 10.1.2, Vorpal version 4.0.1. Do we know for sure it's them? I need to concentrate. Right, sorry. I'll be quiet. Ebenezabeth closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. She swept all thoughts from her mind until there was only darkness there. And then there was a light, flickering in the dark. As she focused her thoughts upon that light, it grew stronger and brighter. She willed the flame into her hand, into the steel of her revolver. She heard raindrops hissing as they fell upon the hot metal. She opened her eyes. Ebenezabeth raised her weapon and pulled the trigger. A blast of white-hot radiance erupted in front of her. She did not let the force of the shot throw her backward. She did not close her eyes against the blinding light. The explosion engulfed a little scarecrow made of sticks, whose hair was a bundle of straw and whose shirt was an old potato sack. But no part of the little man was consumed, even though he was still very dry. Having been out in the rain for only a minute or two, the sticks and the straw and the potato sack were only singed a bit. What had happened to the scarecrow was this. Before her experiment, Ebenezabeth had tucked a tiny silver splinter, a shard of the hateful mirror of Belial, into his head full of straw. When she stepped forward to inspect her work, she saw that the shard had quite melted away, and the scarecrow was left unharmed. "Then it works!" cried Freeman the Crow. "Well done!" Ebenezabeth was not so pleased. "It works, but I could still hurt somebody if I'm not careful." Freeman would have liked to tell Ebenezabeth not to worry so much, but in this moment he thought better of it. Back garden. The garden behind the Scrooge residence was very narrow, and dark old buildings loomed all around. Ebenezabeth was eager to get back inside, out of the rain. Presently, Freeman flapped up to make a perch of the Scarecrow's head. He did not mind the rain whatsoever. I think this might be a double space. I think there might be two spaces between these two words. This is a game that I have played once before in its entirety, I believe. This was right at the time of release, so I don't know that there was necessarily much in the way of changes or bug fixes after that, but I should have some recollection of pretty much how this whole thing works. Let us begin by typing about. Thank you for playing The Little Match Girl against the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls. This game is a follow-up to, you might say DLC for, The Little Match Girl 4, Crown of Pearls. If you are playing this game before having played that game, you are very brave, but I won't try to stop you. Development of this game was supported by my generous Patreon supporters, Emily Short, Sammy Elborawi, Janice M. Eisen, Q Fever, Harrison Gerard, Matt Schneider, Ivan R., Sarah, Michael Ziegler, Jenny Polodna, Janelle Marie, Russ Wang, Grant Veeder, Doug Orleans, Greg Frost, Sarah W., Carl Ove Hooftamer, Jason Love, Rich Cheng, Nils Fagerberg, Pause to catch my breath, Magnus Buchanan, Carolyn Van Esseltine, Jacques Frichet, John Lean, Matthew Zimmerman, Derek Sotak, Joshua Grams, Julia Ramsey, Yerrick, Carl Muckenhaupt, Jessica Seidel, Alan Tan, Robin Johnson, Robert Palutzian, Kenneth Hahn, Michael Knowles, Jordan Ish, Mark, Jeremy Wright, Benjamin Slade, Jason Farrell, Almost Done, Dominia, Stephen Norris, Catherine O'Sullivan, Robert Egglestone, Tobias V. Langhoff, Brett W., and Josh Lawrence. Wow! Geez! Thanks! You can support my work and get early access to my games, including the upcoming Little Match Girl 5, The Hunter's Vow, at patreon.com/rcveeder. Big ups to testers Sarah Wilson and Jason Love, plus Leia Luo, who helped smooth out a couple rough edges. Let's look once more. Back garden. The garden behind the Scrooge residence was very narrow, and dark old buildings loomed all around. Ebenezabeth was eager to get back inside, out of the rain. Freeman the Crow sat upon the Scarecrow's head of straw. Let's examine the Scarecrow. It was a crude effigy erected expressly to test Ebenezabeth's new technique for destroying mirror shards. Though very much intact, it must be said it was blackened in a few places, and this gave the young lady pause. We should examine Freeman as well. Freeman looked very picturesque on his roost, and not scared at all. Talk to him. Freeman noticed that Ebenezabeth was paying attention to him. Anyway, as I was saying, how do you know the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls is responsible for this business? The Sisterhood would have access to all the Snow Queen's work. I don't know where else someone could acquire so many mirror shards. Well, there's the ones we collected last year, but those are locked up safe, right? Right. Examine the revolver. On one side of her revolver were engraved the words, "For my friend Ebenezabeth, Samuel Colt." On the other was inlaid a golden rose next to the inscription, Pius PP 9. She was carrying her revolver. We examine ourselves. Ebenezabeth had just turned 20. Something about growing a year older had made her life seem very bleak, though she tried hard to hide her feelings from her friends and her papa. She had a sense that her youth was slipping away, that she had not done as much as she could have, and she knew, though she dreaded to think on it, that there were many more things that she must do. Well, in that case, let's look at these buildings. The windows in the surrounding houses were dark. Let's talk to Freeman once more. There's still the question of motive, said Freeman. Ebenezabeth sighed. I wish I had any idea of what the Sisterhood wanted at any given time, much less right now. If they're looking at the Snow Queen's files, maybe they're trying to make another Aeschylus manifold. Miss Havisham is on record saying the Snow Queen was wasting her time with that. I don't think she'd approve any further research, but I don't really know. Miss Havisham being the... Isn't she in the governess in Great Expectations? Responsible for young Pip? Maybe I'm getting my novels mixed up. I keep looking around thinking there's more I need to see. Let's just go inside. To the sitting room. A fire was burning in the hearth, and Ebenezer Scrooge sat on the divan nearby, puzzling himself with some figures. "Where is Puss now?" asked Ebenezabeth. "She managed to get into the basement," her father said, rather put out. "You must convince that creature to behave, Ebenezabeth." "I will do my best, Papa." The basement was downstairs, of course, and Ebenezabeth's bedroom was upstairs. The way out to the back garden was north, and the way out to the street was south. Let's examine Ebenezer. Papa was scribbling away in an accounting book, endeavoring to minimize expenses at one of his charitable institutions. And this on his day home from the office. Ebenezabeth would have chided him for working too hard, if she were in a better mood. If we try talking to him again, old Scrooge looked up at his daughter and tapped his pencil against his notebook. "It's not very sporting of these naughty little girls to give you so much trouble so soon after your birthday. Have they no shame?" Ebenezabeth chuckled half-heartedly. "If I track them down, I'll ask them to change their policies." Well, let's, before we go down, let's go back up to the bedroom. Here was Ebenezabeth's bed, and her desk, with a little candle burning upon it, and Freeman's cage. And on the wall over her desk was a little shelf, on which sat a violin, a tiger's eye pendant, the skeletonic key, a scanning lens, and a gold bracelet. Well, we're going to need at least one of those. Let's examine the bracelet. 3 twisted bands of gold, a gift from a Viking queen. If we try wearing it, she took the gold bracelet, she put on the gold bracelet. Examine the lens. It was a bluish transpex lens of space pirate design, mounted so as to be worn over the eye. It allowed the wearer to scan nearby objects. I tried to wear it, first taking the scanning lens. She took the scanning lens. She placed the scanning lens over her eye, and a message appeared in the transpex. "Hey, lady, what are we scanning today?" Let's scan the bracelet. She scanned the gold bracelet, and the scanning lens reported. Bracelet analysis. Currency. Let's examine the key. The key was a piece of intricately carved yellow ivory. It had the power to lock or unlock anything that locked. Take it. We scan it. The scanning lens had this to say about the skeletonic key. Skeletonic key. Still have no idea what kind of ivory this is. Probably fine. Let's examine the pendant. An orange topaz on a gold chain, which the wearer could squeeze to help see in the dark. It once belonged to a dangerous vampire. We scan it. Pendant analysis. Very basic vampire magic. Seriously, nothing to worry about. We wear it. What else was there? There's the violin. Ebenezabeth had very fond feelings for her violin, despite the fraught circumstances of its acquisition. Playing upon it always calmed her nerves. We scan it. Violin analysis. Gotta be worth at least currency 3,000. I don't know how much that is in your Earth pound sterling. We try playing it. She lifted her beloved violin and plucked out a few notes on its strings, but her heart was not in it, for her current troubles weighed too much on her mind. She returned the instrument to its shelf. Let's examine the desk itself, and let's scan the desk. A lit candle sat on the desk, near a sheaf of papers that do not concern us at the moment. In the side of the desk, there was a drawer. Scan desk. Desk analysis. Just a regular desk. Examine the drawer. It's closed. Scan it. Drawer analysis. Guess what? I'm bored too. Open it. She opened the drawer, revealing a leatherette notebook. We examine that. Debossed on the cover of the notebook, in a flowery typeface, were the words Gratitude Journal. It was closed. If we scan it, Notebook analysis. What is this gratitude I keep hearing about? Thank lens? Yeah, unfortunately not. Thank you. You're welcome. Let's open the notebook. She opened the leatherette notebook, revealing a secret compartment. We look in the compartment. In the secret compartment was a half-eaten chocolate bar. If we examine the bar, it was a chocolate bar from 21st century Earth. Ebenezer had treated herself to half of it after she succeeded in helping Queen Victoria to fulfill a treaty with the fairy realm, and she was saving the other half as a reward for a future accomplishment. Excuse me. Let's scan the bar then. You should just go ahead and eat it. It's good for you. I have a doubt about that. Scanning lens. Let's close the notebook and close the drawer. And let's go examine the cage. A birdcage hung in Ebenezer's room where Freeman slept some nights, though many other nights he was out and about in London on his own business. If we scan that, birdcage analysis. There is no latch on this cage. What gives? My cat has arrived to harass me about the fact that he could use a treat, but he just got a treat, so that's not going to happen, buddy. Sorry. Please refrain from clawing at my leg. Let's go down to the sitting room. We scan Ebenezer. Ebenezer Scrooge, incredibly rich. Just like ridiculously, cartoonishly rich. If we're not going to rob him, can we at least make him take us out for ice cream? It's nice to see that the scanning lens has caused the scale of its ambitions to get a little more appropriate to Ebenezer's preferred range of interactions. Let's go down to the basement. The basement was full of clutter and old furniture and shadows, full of hiding places for a naughty little cat. Here, puss, come out, puss, Ebenezer cooed, and she thought she heard something stirring. If we listen, she couldn't be sure where in the basement puss was. We searched the shadows. She peered into the shadows, hoping to see the eyes of puss glinting back at her, but they didn't. Let's try scanning the shadows. Darkness analysis. Look, lady, I don't know where your cat is. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and see if we can lure the cat instead by transforming. She took a deep breath. Molecules coiled and uncoiled, dancing, shifting, tensing, releasing. She felt very ticklish for a moment, and then it was over. She was a little mouse. Something in her mouse instinct could sense her cat moving through the basement. We tried talking to the cat. She couldn't be sure where in the basement puss was. She felt a presence behind her, but when she turned, there was nothing there. We try searching the shadows now. She couldn't see inside the shadows in her current state. She felt sure the cat would appear at any moment. We wait. Time passed. And then, like a cork bursting from a bottle, Puss the cat sprang out of the darkness and pounced upon little Ebenezabeth. In an instant she had the little yellow mouse trapped in her claws. Ebenezabeth's mouse heart was beating so very fast, she felt certain that she would be gobbled up. But as she looked up into the face of her darling puss, she saw no hunger in her eyes, but cruel glee, and among her sharp little teeth she saw a mirror shark glistening. If we try transforming, she took another deep breath. She felt stretched out, expanded, huge. But when it was over, she was a young lady again. With a furious screech, Puss leapt away from Ebenezabeth and scrambled back into the shadows. Let's try squeezing the amulet. Or the pendant? No. Still, let's try searching the shadows now. But no. So let's transform once more. And wait again. And again. So once more, we felt the presence behind her, and when she turned, there was nothing there. And once more, when we waited a second time, all of a sudden, and yet not quite unexpectedly, Puss the cat sprang out of the darkness and pounced upon little Ebenezer. In an instant, she had little yellow mouse trapped in her claws. We can try taking the shard. The little mouse couldn't manage that while she was being tortured by her cat. "Aren't we having fun now, little mouse?" hissed Puss. We tried talking to the cat. "Please let me go, Puss," Ebenezer wailed. But Puss only smiled wickedly. "Why should I, little mouse? You and I so rarely have a chance to play like this." The sadistic little cat batted Ebenezer back and forth between her paws. We transform again. She took another deep breath. She felt stretched out again, expanded, huge. But when it was over, she was a young lady again. With a furious screech, Puss leapt away from Ebenezer and scrambled back into the shadows. So it seems we may not be able to get her yet. Let's go ahead and go back up to the sitting room. And let's examine the fire here. Ebenezer stared into the burning logs, and the fire took her to Neo-Antarctica 2106, bus station. Your footsteps echo through the cavernous lobby. The timetables are all dark. The long benches are empty. Rain clatters against the tall windows and the glass doors to the north. Examine the timetables. The monitors should be saying when the next bus will arrive, but the screens are black. Examine the benches. The ergonomically shapeless benches are made from some sort of translucent plastic, supposed to look like ice. Which makes sense if we're in Neo-Antarctica. Let's examine the windows. It's pelting hard enough to reduce the outside world to an illegible smear. And the doors? The doors stand up valiantly against the freezing rain. You can see a notice on the other side. "All service canceled due to inclement weather," it says, backwards. If we try going north, the doors are locked. Well, there's only one way out. It's the only direction we can go from here. If we try to wake, you close your eyes and let yourself return to London, 1848. We go back to the back garden. Let's try scanning Freeman. Freeman, tame crow. Threat level, easy. Abilities, flight, spooky bird secrets. Affinity, death. Ladies' note, be nice to Freeman or I'll have you reprogrammed. Well, that's kind of nice. I mean, he's still... The lens is still assessing Freeman as an easy threat. Though we did manage to turn him into quite an effective combatant during our original adventure against the Snow Queen when we were dealing with mirror shards the first time. Talk to him once more. There's another possibility. Freeman paused significantly. The Sisterhood might be after you in particular, for revenge. Ebenezer rubbed her forehead. That had occurred to me. Talk again? Any other ideas? Asked Ebenezer. Freeman shrugged. Not at the moment. Well, let's go out to the street to the south, to Lime Street. As Ebenezer stepped out into the rainy evening, a bullet flew past her head. She ducked behind a column. readied her weapon, listened. Another shot, nearby, southeast. A third, right away, too desperate to be a professional. "Listen!" Ebenezer shouted. "I'm going to stand up now, and we can settle this peacefully. I don't want you, or me, or anyone else to get hurt. But if I stand up, and you fire on me again, I'll have to defend myself. And I'm a much better shot than you are. Do you understand?" She waited. No answer. She shook her head and sighed. As Ebenezer rose to her feet, she saw the street was empty, except for a figure disappearing down the alley to the southeast. Well, let's examine that alley first. She couldn't see into the alley from across the street. Let's go ahead and try going southeast. To alley. A faint orange glow lit the alleyway, casting long shadows over heaps of refuse and rivulets of greasy rainwater. Ebenezer walked slowly down the corridor, her footsteps falling loudly in the puddles. She knew there was no way out for whoever she was chasing. But when she reached the end of the alley, something like relief came over her. The face staring back at her through the darkness was one she recognized. The face of Estella Havisham. Examine Estella. Estella's dark curls were all askew. Her soft features were twisted by fear or by confusion, by aimless hatefulness and disgust. The meager light glinted on the muzzle of a tiny pepper-box revolver in her hands. So it seems likely that she is possessed by a shard. We try talking to Estella currently. "Estella," Ebenezer said softly, "you're not in control of yourself. Will you let me help you?" I don't trust you," the young lady stuttered. "Can you tell me what you're here for?" asked Ebenezer. "I have to defeat you!" Estella cried. Well, I guess we're going to have to go ahead and put Ebenezer's hypothesis to the test. This will work. She closed her eyes. She squeezed her revolver. Warmth spread through her body into the gun, the heat of a blazing furnace, the heat of Venusian storms. She opened her eyes. We're going to go ahead and give it a try. We shoot Estella. She raised her weapon. Estella stared at Ebenezer in shock and revulsion. "Go ahead, you monster. Kill me. I dare you." "I swear I'm trying to help," Ebenezer said, and she fired. White light filled the alley. In an instant, it was dark again. Estella fell to her knees. Ebenezer rushed forward to help her up. "I'm so sorry," Estella gasped. "I felt so angry. I wanted to hurt you, but I didn't know why." "It's all right. Miss Havisham was manipulating you. I think she and the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls are up to something. Have you heard anything unusual from her?" Estella shook her head. "I've been out on my own for a while now. I found... Oh, you should have this." And Estella's, suddenly full of energy and purpose, rushed into the darkest corner of the alley, and she rifled through the London garbage piled up there until she had found a valise, which apparently she had hidden from there earlier. From out of this valise, she produced a black velvet capelet with a silver clasp. I'm assuming that's the correct pronunciation of valise. I confess I have not had much cause to say the word aloud, in my experience. "It's enchanted," she explained, placing the cape in Ebenezer's hands. "It will keep you warm, much warmer than such a charming little thing has any right to do." "Thank you," said Ebenezer. Then Estella's expression became very serious. "I won't let my mother get away with this," she said. "I'll see what clues I can scare up and report back later." With that, Estella and her valise went out into the street, leaving Ebenezer alone in the alley. We examine the cape. A shoulder cape of black velvet held around the neck with a silver clasp. It did feel very warm in her hands. I put it on. She pulled the capelet over her shoulders and fastened the silver clasp. The cape didn't even cover her elbows, but she immediately felt quite warm and cozy. This may be sufficient for us to deal with the rain in Neo-Antarctica, but we still have to get through the locked doors before that will be of much use, I suspect. So we're still in the alley. We check out that refuse. The trash in the alleyway did not much concern Ebenezer. And the rainwater. Water trickled down the walls and formed little streams across the ground, accumulating the residues of all the filth through which it flowed. We try going back out. It takes us back to Lime Street. It was a gloomy London night, rainy and cold, and the flame of the street lamp that burned outside the Scrooge home took on a singularly lonesome aspect. A dark alley opened up across the street to the southeast. So here we have a street lamp. Let's examine that. Though the flame was weak, it was yet a friend of Ebenezabeth's, and it was happy to take her along to Newark, 2003. Waterfront. On one side, Route 21 is under 3 inches of water, flowing like a river. On the other, the Passaic River is a literal river, a raging deluge. In the muddy no-man's land between them is a square of concrete and a tiny brick building. Newark Water and Sewer Station, 14 plus 05. 1405? I'm not sure how that particular punctuation is supposed to be voiced, if it is at all. I'm just going to leave it out, I think. Let's examine the river. The Passaic is a wild cataract, a flood of grayish froth, plus a lot of trash. We can't see the trash in the river, though. Let's examine the street. The highway is packed with traffic despite the downpour. The headlights hurt your eyes. We examine the concrete. A squat cube of orange brick sits on the concrete foundation. There are no windows, just a heavy steel door. Oh, I have the skeletonic key. I forgot. I can get through any locked door. The door and its frame are covered in rust. The placard riveted to its surface reads, Newark Water and Sewer, Station 1405. The heavy steel door won't open. It seems to be locked. We've been scanning all this stuff. I keep forgetting. Scan the door. Pretty serious door. I'm surprised there's no trespassing sign. We scan the river. Okay, I'm analyzing some of the pollution in this river, and sweet Betsy, humans are gross. Scan Route 21. Highway analysis. Yeesh, why do these guys gotta drive so fast? We unlock the door with the skeletonic key. And it works. We open it, and we go in. To Station 1405. This place is smaller than your bedroom. A plastic bucket lies on its side in one corner. A pin-up calendar hangs on the far wall. There's an open manhole in the middle of the floor. Rain pounds ceaselessly on the roof. We examine the calendar. The calendar is turned to June. A woman in a skimpy bathing suit is being chased around by her identical twin. The soupy logo is printed unobtrusively in the corner. We scan the calendar. Look, I might be just a transpex scanning lens, and I might have been constructed and programmed by space pirates whose morphology is completely alien to simple Earth humans, and I might have been partially reprogrammed by a kind of prudish female Earth human, but I know a sexy lady when I see one. So this is a soupy calendar? Interesting. Let's examine the manhole. A ladder leads down into a tunnel below the station. We scan it. On the Space Pirate planet, what we do is we put a cover on top of holes like these for safety reasons. Also, we call them Space Pirate holes. Okay, my cat is being really insistent. I am going to pause to treat the cat. Back momentarily. Okay, unpausing. It's not a verb I recognize. Let's listen. Yeah, it isn't letting up. Let's go down. Darkness. It is pitch dark and you can't see a thing, but you can hear water rushing violently. We squeeze our pendant. You squeeze the pendant, and the surrounding darkness becomes somehow transparent. Sewer tunnel. A rusty ladder connects the manhole cover above to a concrete platform overlooking a massive torrent, rushing from west to east. This is a text adventure game, so you can get away with doing stupid, dangerous stuff, but in real life, you should never explore a storm sewer when it's raining. We know! That's why we're staying way over here where it's safe. Luke and Amy approach, both looking haggard in their rain-drenched puffy jackets. Luke is thrilled to see you. But Queen Brittany got a wild hair to go surfing, Luke explains. She said she'd never get another chance like this. We told her she was an idiot, Amy adds. She didn't listen. Try talking to Luke again. It's good to see you again, Luke and Amy. I think... Luke cuts you off with a weak little wave. I go by Dire Shadow now, he says. I'm sorry. It's good to see you, Dire Shadow and... Amy, says Amy. I believe Queen Brittany may have gotten mixed up with the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls, you continue. Dire Shadow runs a hand through his greasy hair. Above our pay grade, he mutters. I think I can help. Do you know where Brittany's gone? Dire Shadow shrugs, gestures to the west. I mean, upstream? She took the walkways somewhere up the tunnel, but those are under 2 feet of water now. Well, if we talk to Amy... What makes you think it's the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls? Amy asks. I've had run-ins with them before, you tell her, and it seems like they might be going after my friends. Amy squints at you. Oh, so Queen Brittany is a good friend of yours? You hang out with each other a lot, and she doesn't tell us about it? You shrug. If we try talking again... If Queen Brittany really is in with the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls, how is that your business? I think they might be influencing her against her will. From what I can tell, Miss Havisham... It sounds like your whole story is just a bunch of guesses, Amy says, and you find you can't argue with that. We tried talking to Dire Shadow some more. You asked Dire Shadow, did Brittany head off alone? She took the gators and her surfboard. Oh, fair enough. If we examine that water, the flow of water is prodigious. It doesn't look nearly as disgusting as the river outside. We scan the water. Wow, that's a lot of rain. Let's scan Dire Shadow. Dire Shadow, human teen. Threat level, chump. Affinity, darkness. Weaknesses, emotions, electricity. Don't get on his bad side, though, because in a couple of years he's going to be... Well, I won't spoil it for you. We scan Amy. Amy, human team. Threat level, complicated. Affinity, fire. Weaknesses, ice. Grades. The thing is, these two sewer warriors are basically exactly as strong as each other, but Amy gets the edge because she has confidence. But also confidence can be a liability. Well, let's go ahead and wake up for now. And go back to Lime Street. Go back to the north, the sitting room. And now that we remember we have a key that opens locked doors, let's go ahead and examine the fire again. Ebenezer stared into the burning logs, and the fire took her to Neo Antarctica, 2106, bus station. Unlock doors with key. Scan doors. They're plain old regular doors as far as I can tell. Scan the bench. Pretty cool benches. Scan timetables. Schedule analysis. There is no schedule. Let's go out. Reynolds Street. Sheets of freezing rain drench the bus station, the sidewalk, the street to the north. But it doesn't bother you. You close the glass doors. Examine the sidewalk. The sidewalk is covered in ice, which is covered in rain. We scan it. Please be careful, lady. I don't want you to fall. I could get knocked off your head and break into pieces. Examine the bus station. Reynolds Street Station has the same sleek, half-melted look as the benches inside. It is not in operation at the moment. We scan the station. Reynolds Street Station, constructed 2082. Architect Agnes Fayview. Cleanest bus station in Neo-Antarctica, 2083. So, yeah. 1 year it was pretty clean. And then, we are now in 2106, so that was like 30 years ago, almost, more or less. Uh, 20 years, yeah, what am I saying? Okay, let's go north to Trinity Neo-Presbyterian. The marquee says everything is canceled, but the parking lot is full, and the lights are on in the church building. The bus station is down Reynolds Street to the south. We examine the parking lot. Dozens of cars are parked outside the church. The freezing rain is forming a crust over all of them. One of them has a soupy bumper sticker. Some nice cars over there. Oh, right, you don't know how to drive. We examine the bumper sticker. A pair of ruby red lips pursed tight and the letters SUPI. Sororitas Universalis Puellarum Improbarum? Puellarum Improbarum. Something to that effect. Which, let's go ahead and just copy that. Translate Latin to English. Universal Sisterhood of Bad Girls. Thanks, Google. Okay, let's go in to Narthex. The church's Narthex doubles as its lobby. The community calendar is posted on one wall. A photo of the congregation hangs on another. The sanctuary is north, the pastor's office is east, and the exit is west. Examine the calendar. Pancake breakfast was slated for tomorrow, but it has been viciously crossed out with a pen. We scan the calendar. Hold up, lady. Remember our deal. I won't be disrespectful in churches if you don't make me scan anything in churches. Right. Let's go ahead and honor that agreement. Let's examine the photo. Human and Pengfolk parishioners crowd the chancel around their pastor, all smiling awkwardly. Let's go ahead and head into the office to the east. The pastor leans over his lucite desk, rubbing his temples. On the desk is a nameplate. Pastor Blake. A poster hangs on the wall behind him. The Cowboy's 10 Commandments. We examine the poster. In a thick, pointy font, the commandments enjoin: Thou shalt ain't kill your paw. Thou shalt ain't poison your horse. Thou shalt ain't broke the schoolmarm's heart. Thou shalt ain't rustle 'em dogies. Thou shalt ain't rob no trains. Thou shalt ain't hold up no Western Union stagecoach neither. Thou shalt ain't gamble of a Sunday. Thou shalt ain't contract the syphilitic disease. Thou shalt shoot your 6 guns. Thou shalt ain't kidnap no mayor, nor any mayor's wife, nor any child of any mayor. At the bottom is a disclaimer in very small type, warning that this poster is intended for entertainment purposes only. We examine the pastor. Blake is a young-looking penman. You wouldn't have guessed he was old enough to have graduated from seminary. Then again, they do things differently in 2106. We talk to Blake. May I ask what's wrong? Pastor Blake looks up at you. His bill hangs open uselessly for a moment. I just wanted to add some light entertainment, he squawks. But now they don't want to hear any sermons. They don't want to hear the word. They don't even want to hear my stupid jokes. They just want to watch Karen dance. They even drove here in this horrible storm. I'll try to help, sir, you say, but he just rolls his eyes. We'll examine his desk while we're in here. The transparent desk doesn't look very sturdy or practical. We go back out to the narthex. And let's go north to the sanctuary. Sanctuary. The pews are full of humans and penfolk, leaning forward in rapt attention. The pulpit is empty. The only person on the stage is Karen Produski, dancing wildly. Ebenezy, she cries. Her feet don't stop dancing. You sweet little murderess, come stare at me for a while. You look up and down at the audience. Nobody else has noticed you. Is this part of the church service? Not really, Karen squeals. Karen executes a pirouette, and her red hair spins wildly around, as does her red dress. We examine Karen. Karen's expression is ecstatic, drinking in the mute adoration of the churchgoers. Yet the blissful look on her face seems somehow disconnected from the twirling, flourishing, gyrating, kicking, and tapping going on below her neck. On her feet are a pair of bright red dancing shoes. Karen runs in place and throws up a pair of jazz hands. Let's see if the lens will cooperate long enough to examine the shoes. Before you point the scanning lens at the red shoes, you think of your deal and decide not to stir up trouble. Karen does a series of very high kicks. We try talking to Karen. Karen, I need you to hold still. I won't and I can't, but I wouldn't, she gasps. I'm giving these repressed Neo-Presbyterians the show of a lifetime. She turns a cartwheel, eliciting a weak "oh" from the mesmerized audience. Karen leaps across the stage. We focus. You close your eyes. You squeeze your revolver. Warmth spreads through your body into the gun. The heat of a blazing furnace. The heat of a jet engine. You open your eyes. Karen vogues around for a bit. Karen giggles as you try to line up a shot. Jealous, Ebenezy? Don't want to share the spotlight? Don't kid yourself, darling. You wouldn't shoot me in a church. You don't have the guts. Spin, shimmy, thrust, spin. You're a good little girl. She holds a pose just long enough for you to fire. The church is filled with light. A mirror shard flies free from the red shoes and disintegrates. Karen is on her back, barefoot and dazed. As the members of the congregation slowly come to their senses, someone stomps in behind you, Pastor Blake. Is everyone all right? He asks. Everyone seems to be. Karen props herself up on her elbows and nods. Good. Then I can tell you all to be ashamed of yourselves, the pastor clucks. This church is a place of worship and fellowship, not idle entertainment. It was the shoes, Karen says. I couldn't help myself. That's your excuse, says Pastor Blake, and he turns to his congregation. What's yours? While he's glaring at his flock, you grab the shoes from the stage. We're sorry, Pastor Blake, someone whines. We were led astray, but we won't let it happen again. We're ready to hear your sermon now. I don't have a sermon prepared because nobody is so supposed to be here, because church was canceled due to freezing rain, Blake hisses. But since you're here, you're going to sit in quiet meditation until the weather lets up. With that, he waddles out of the sanctuary. Karen steps down from the stage. Not me, she says. I'm going to head down to the basement and soak my feet for a few days. Thanks, Ebenezy. Sorry I called you a sweet little murderess. And she hobbles away. We examine the shoes. A pair of shiny red shoes, apparently cursed. We look around in the sanctuary. The pews are full of humans and penfolk, some leaning forward in prayer, some glaring around sullenly. We examine humans. The congregation is not so unified anymore. People can't seem to agree on whether they should be penitent or indignant. Same thing for the penfolk. So let's go ahead and wake up Return to London and scan them shoes. Shoe analysis, kind of tacky. Definitely cursed, but kind of fun, too. Okay. Where else can we see fire? Right, little candle in Ebenezer room. Let's examine that candle. Ebenezer focused on the candle, and it took her to Florida Keys, 1734. Beach. A strip of sand runs east and west, between a dark jungle and a dark sea, beneath a dark sky full of clouds. The patter of the rain is mostly drowned out by the waves. Well, there's a lot of precipitation in this game. Examine the rain. It feels like it's been raining for weeks. Let's try scanning the rain. What am I supposed to be scanning? The clouds? Individual raindrops? Fair point of indignation to the lens. Let's examine the waves. The water is black and choppy. There might be a storm brewing. We scan the waves. Meteorological analysis. The next hurricane will arrive in 476 hours. So, you know, that's some time away. We don't have to be worried. But the strip of sand runs east and west. Let's examine the scan. Examine the sand. Raindrops make a little puddle in the sand, then a wave washes it away. We scan it. This sand is not that nice. I know a beach on the Space Pirate planet that is really nice. Let's go east first, to the beach. An egret stands on a rock ignoring the rain. The beach continues west and northeast. Examine the egret. A stoic bird with white feathers and a pointy beak. Scan it. We scan the bird. Egret, boring bird. Family, Ardeidae. Order, Pelicaniforms. Threat level, Mood, insouciant. Transform. Talk to the egret. What are you doing, mouse? I think I'm looking for a way to the interior of the island, you say. Really? Have you not seen the path? I guess not. The egret snorts. There's a path, somewhere. It shouldn't be hard to find. Your low-light vision may not be up to the task, I suppose. Well, that's good to know. I think we go ahead and transform then. And squeeze pendant. And we continue back to the west. Let's go ahead and circle this clockwise, I think. I'm assuming that the ocean is to our south, but yeah, you aren't outfitted to go swimming. So the ocean is to the south, so if we go west, we're going clockwise around the island. Beach. A cook fire was here, now a pile of wet ashes. The beach runs northwest and east. If we examine the jungle, even with the pendant's help, you can't see much of anything in the jungle. The vegetation is too thick. Let's go northwest to the beach. Tall waves bound to the western tip of the island. The beach continues northeast and southeast. Nothing here. Let's go northeast to the beach. There's a path between the trees here, leading southeast to the island's interior. You would have missed it if not for Lafria's pendant. The beach continues east and southwest. So, let's go southeast into the island interior. Camp. We will spare women and clergymen at first to cultivate a reputation of honor and mildness. You know that voice. Then, when nobody's expecting it, we will pillage a nunnery and leave no survivors. The decree is answered with wild laughter and cheers of triumph. You come around a tent to see an assemblage of rough-edged sailors. Standing at the center of the group is Irene, Princess of Atlantis. Ebenezabeth, my cherished sister, have you come to join my band of merciful-seeming, secretly ruthless pirates? No, sorry. Ah, well, it's very nice to see you regardless. She goes back to her addressing her crew. We examine Irene. Irene currently has human legs. They might be the legs that Eunoia got from that potion that one time. It's very difficult to keep these women and their antics straight. At the moment, Irene is explaining to her crew how she will apportion shares of treasure based on ruthlessness. Let's try talking to her. Irene, you call out, I really don't think you should lead a band of pirates. Your father will be very disappointed. She rolls her eyes. My father, Poseidon, she pauses so that her crew can cheer, will bless our pillaging and augment our fleet with merfolk legions and krakens. He absolutely will not, you mutter, as the pirates applaud and whistle. Well, we know what this calls for. We focus. You close your eyes. You squeeze your revolver. Warmth spreads through your body into the gun. The heat of a furious volcano, the heat of Jovian lightning. You open your eyes. Well, time to shoot our sister. In the moment that you raise your revolver, a gang of pirates breaks off from the group to tackle you. Let her go! Stand down! Irene shouts. You must leave my sister alone. But you, Ebenezabeth, you must not try to shoot me. I'm trying to help, you groan, getting to your feet. She's already back at her lecture. Let's scan her. Irene, merfolk princess, plus pirate captain. Threat level, awesome. Why does she have legs, though? Doesn't matter. This lady is the raddest. Oh, also there's a mirror shard on her somewhere. Let's examine the pirates. The pirates appear to have decided that if Irene isn't interested in you, they shouldn't be either. One of them glances at you just long enough to communicate with his eyes that you should buzz off. We try scanning the pirates. Finally, some cool people. These are pirates. Not as good as space pirates, but still. Pirates are noted for doing whatever they want and dismantling broken systems. Wherever there's an entrenched repressive paradigm, pirates will be there to shatter that paradigm using violent crime. Although these specific pirates do not strike me as paragons of the piractical ideal. The heat in your revolver fades away. Princess Irene is surrounded by a crowd of pirates who are hanging on her every word. A path through the jungle leads northwest to the beach. We've got red shoes. Let's try showing the shoes to Irene. You want to keep track of the red shoes. Okay, fair enough. I don't know that our bracelet is of any help. Let's listen. You don't hear anything interesting. Currently, she's explaining to her crew the utility of a threatening tattoo. Alright, well, we're going to need to disrupt her somehow, but I'm not sure what our best option is from here. Can we hide? No. Let's go back to the northwest. Let's go east from here to a long stretch of beach runs east and west. The beach goes southeast and west. A tall ship is anchored some distance from the northeast side of the island. Examine the ship. Now that you can see better, you're sure the ship is leaning to one side. Seems dangerous. We scan the ship. Castor, pirate vessel. Heck yes, pirates are awesome, although my analysis indicates that these pirates are not very good at piracy. Let's go southeast from here. And then southwest. So we've now gone full circle. Examine the cook fire. A few blackened pieces of wood stick out of the ashes. For some reason, this is making you feel awful. You look away. It's an odd reaction. We scan the cook fire. These ashes are like 3-4 days old, I think. I don't have enough data to say for sure. Sorry. Let's go ahead and search the pirates. Nothing of interest. Let's go ahead and wake up. Back to London. And let's go back down. So, okay. The fire took us to Neo Antarctica, and we have already resolved that crisis. Let's go back south to Lime Street and examine the... Okay, the Lime Street takes us to Newark, and we need Irene's swimming fin to be able to pursue Brittany. We go southeast. Let's examine the orange glow. The light is substantial. I mean, was. Okay, well, can't see fire from here. Skeleton, a key. Capelet we're wearing. Pendant let us see. The lens. We try wearing the shoes? She slipped on the red shoes. The curse took effect immediately. She started dancing uncontrollably. If we tried to remove the shoes, she couldn't control her body. She could only dance. Tried to examine the fire. She couldn't. She had to keep dancing. Can we transform? She took a deep breath. The ticklish feeling rippled over her briefly, and then she had changed. Her mouse body was crouched between the two red shoes. Okay, so we can transform to get out of the shoes. That's not how you spell transform. Let's try dancing for the pirates. Back to the sitting room. Up. Examine the candle. Okay. Wear shoes. You slip on the red shoes. The curse takes effect immediately. You start dancing uncontrollably. A few of the pirates turn their heads. Nice moves, one hoots. We try to dance? Yeah, that's what you're doing. More of the pirates are watching you. Attention, pirates, Irina shouts. Your princess captain is addressing you. But they're more interested in the dancing lady. You try to concentrate, but you can't stop dancing. Pirates are breaking off from Irene to form a new crowd around you. You are on thin ice, pirates, she screeches. I am not a forgiving princess. I will repay your disloyalty with... She can't think of anything. We try to wait. Your body won't let you do that. As long as your feet are in the shoes, you have to dance. Now all of the pirates are watching you. Irene is alone in the middle of the camp. Can we sing? You can't do that. You need a body you can control. Yeah, we can't talk to Irene. Let's transform. You close your eyes and try to breathe. Someone screams. A mouse! Witchcraft! Disgusting! You're on the ground now, sitting between the red shoes. Pirates are scattering in every direction, running into the trees. No, no, don't go, Irene wails. We were going to plunder and murder and maraud and... She falls to her knees, sobbing. We transform again. You take another deep breath. You feel stretched out, expanded, huge. But when it's over, you're a young lady again. Nobody notices. We focus. You close your eyes. You squeeze your revolver. Warmth spreads through your body into the gun. The heat of liquid gold, the heat of Jovian lightning. You open your eyes. You extend a hand to Irene, but she bats it away. I hate you, she whimpers. I renounce our sisterhood. Fair enough. You shoot Irene. Irene is pounding, punching the sandy ground. She doesn't see you lift your revolver. A burst of light illuminates the jungle. Irene lifts her face, and a mirror shard falls from her eye, shrivels into nothing. Ebenezabeth, she cries, leaping to her feet. You saved me. I was under a spell. She wraps her arms around you mercilessly. I was compelled to a life of piracy among all those awful hairy humans. But you saved me. Oh, thank you, my sweet, virtuous sister. Thank you. You're welcome. Now that you're feeling better, I think you should head back home. Of course. Finally, she lets go of you. I just need my... Where did I leave it? She ducks into a tent and rummages around for a while. Oh dear, you hear her say. She steps out carrying 2 mermaid tails. This one is mine, she says, and this one is Eunoia's. I'm not supposed to have it. It's easy to get mixed up, you tell her. Oh, sweet, naive sister, when Eunoia finds out I've had her tail all this time, she will be furious. Hers is a much stronger tail, you know. She can swim up a waterfall. You shake your head. I find that hard to believe. I'm sure the 2 of you are very well matched. Irene frowns at you. Ebenezabeth, you must do me a favor. I will take my own tail back to Atlantis, and you will take this one. She drops Eunoia's tail in your arms. And you will wait a respectable amount of time so as not to seem suspicious, and then you come to Atlantis and give Eunoia her tail back. You can tell her you found it. She shrugs. In the future. And we'll throw you a party. We've been meaning to throw you a party. All right, you say. I'll hold on to it for now. Thank you, my darling, darling sister. Irene kisses your forehead gently, and then she runs off into the jungle. Now we can wake. You close your eyes and let yourself return to London, 1848. Now we go down, and now we examine the fire. Oh, no, we wake up again, we go south, and we examine the street lamp. And that brings us back to Newark, into the sewer tunnel. Here's Dire Shadow and Amy. We have the tail. A long mermaid tail, covered in glittering scales. Princess Eunoia must be missing this, but you can get some use out of it until you run into her. Okay, so yeah, in this one you can't really show things to people for the most part. We wear the tail. You pull the mermaid's tail over your legs and flap your new fins around a bit. Then, carefully, you lower yourself into the water. If we try to swim, you are already doing that. The massive current is rushing from west to east. We go east. East leads out into the river, where you do not want to go. So we go west. Are you sure your tail can handle those rapids? Amy asks doubtfully. It's not really my tail, it's my sister's, you say, and I know she could handle it, so... Amy just shakes her head. Good luck, Dire Shadow cries. You wave back, and you're off. Tunnel. Water is surging over you, pulling at your flaxen curls, pushing you back, but your tail is stronger, and by degrees you overcome the current. Water is flowing in from the north and west toward the tunnel to the east. Let's go west first. To the tunnel. Rainwater is crashing all around you, spewing out of smaller pipes into the river of the sewer. The water is flowing in from tunnels to the south and west, off toward the east. Well, okay, so this is still further upstream. Let's go back east, let's go north instead. A huge wave of rainwater crashes over you. You are lost underwater. Then you rise back out into the air. The water is coming in from the north and west, flowing away to the south. Let's go... I'm going as far to the north as possible, and then we'll work our way counterclockwise around the various tributaries. Platform. This small section of rockway is higher than the water level for now. The current surges away to the south. Rusty padlock sits on the cement. The padlock is only about an inch across and apparently very old. It is locked. We'll scan the padlock. Padlock analysis. Hey, that's kind of cute. Unlocked padlock with key. You unlock the rusty padlock. It isn't something you can open. Fair enough. It's just a section of walkway with a padlock. Yep, sure is. Let's go back to the south. To the tunnel. This time we're going west. Another wave pushes you into the brick walls of the sewer. You cry out, almost swallow a gallon of rainwater. The tunnel branches north and west, and water flows away to the east. This time, we go north to a platform. This small section of walkway is higher than the water level for now. The current surges away to the south. Okay, we go back to the south. Another wave is coming, but you're ready for it. You power through. The tunnel branches north and west, and water flows away to the east. We go west again. To another platform. This small section of walkway is higher than the water level for now. The current surges away to the east. It's hard not to notice a discolored patch of bricks in the wall here. We examine the bricks. An area of the brickwork about 5 feet tall and 3 feet across was clearly laid about 100 years after the surrounding wall. Wall analysis. There's a bunch of sand on the other side of this wall. Weird. So the bricks are just like new bricks. Okay. We can't open the bricks. Let's go back to the east, to the tunnel. Your eyes and arms are exhausted, but your tail isn't a bit tired. It could do this all night. The tunnel branches north and west, and the water flows away to the east. We go east again, and now we go south, and now we go west. Another wave is coming, but you're ready for it. You power through. The water's flowing in from tunnels to the south and west and off toward the east. We go west from here. And we go west once more. To platform. This small section of walkway is higher than the water level for now. Its current surges away to the east. A graffito is painted on the wall here. Examine this graffito. In tall, deliberate letters, echelon your dreams and they'll come true. We try singing. Echoes in rain, drifting in waves, long journey home, never too late. We go back to the east. A soaked newspaper is floating toward you. It passes you in the blink of an eye. The tunnel branches south and west. We go south from here to platform. This small section of walkway is higher than the water level for now. The current surges away to the north. Queen Brittany stands on the walkway, one hand supporting her surfboard. Her 2 alligators are resting nearby. Ebenezabeth, come give me a hug. She pulls you out of the water to embrace you. You're forced to awkwardly remove your tail at the same time. I'm just waiting for the perfect wave. You want to ride it with me? No, Brittany, I'm here to stop you from surfing down the sewer. What, but it's cool for you to swim up here in a mermaid suit? I took a big risk coming to save you. This storm is very, very dangerous. If you got hurt, there would be disastrous consequences for these sewers, for Newark, for the entire tri-state area. You know all this already, but something is clouding your judgment. You're being manipulated by the universal sisterhood of naughty little girls. Brittany chuckles. You don't get it, dope. The nice-naughty dichotomy is a fabrication of patriarcho-nomism. The universe isn't a moral battleground, it's a series of sensations, and you can either deny yourself those sensations and functionally cease to exist, or you can be a real person and experience them. The way I'm going to experience this wave when it shows up. Well, I do like Brittany's particular brand of naughtiness. She's just, like, being irrational, but in a cool way. Please, Brittany, try to think clearly. You know you shouldn't be doing this. Don't come to me with the word shouldn't, girl. I don't shouldn't or should anything. But it really would be in your best interest. That's just long for should. Well, we're going to focus. Let's scan Brittany first. Brittany, sewer queen, threat level, considerable, affinity, metal, weaknesses, none recorded, mirror shard detected. We shoot Brittany. Brittany sneers as you raise your gun. You're not going to shoot me, she says. Good people don't shoot their friends. I mean, according to your medieval fairy tale illusion of morality. I swear I'm trying to help. You can try whatever you want, but you won't actually do anything about it, because first you'd have to abandon your prissy puritanical... White light fills the sewer for an instant. A molten mirror shard runs down Brittany's cheek. What was I saying? Don't worry about it. Are you okay? She looks down at herself. I'm fine, she says. My outfit is ruined, but I don't think that's your fault. Are Dire Shadow and Amy okay? They're just worried about you. Well, tell them I'm in good shape, and I'm not going to do any idiot sewer surfing tonight. Kennedy and Mingus and me can hang out here until the storm passes. Brittany takes a seat on the cement. One alligator comes over to rest his head in her lap. The other looks up at you expectantly. Oh, cute. She's trying to say thank you. Or I assume that's what she's trying to say. I don't really speak Gator. I just tell people that. Which do you mean, Mingus or Kennedy? We'll examine Mingus first. They're hard to tell apart, but Mingus is the one with a little nostril twitch. He's mostly ignoring you. Examine Kennedy. Kennedy is the one without the little nostril twitch. She's being uncharacteristically friendly. We scan Mingus. Mingus, sewer alligator, threat level. Do not mess with alligators, please. This thing is huge. We scan Kennedy. Kennedy, sewer alligator, threat level. Leave her alone. You transform. You take a deep breath. The ticklish feeling ripples over you briefly, and now you've changed. Whoa, says Brittany. When should you learn to do that? Try talking to Kennedy. Thank you so much, Kennedy squeals. I want her to pay you, okay? I'm going to teach you an old alligator technique. It's called the death roll. What are you talking about? Asks Mingus. It's like this. Kennedy moves back a bit, and then she flips around wildly, gnashing her teeth, flailing her limbs, and whipping her tail. Oh, Mingus says. I call that raging. Kennedy rolls her eyes. Rage, death roll, whatever. She looks down at you. You think you can do it? You're not sure. I try to rage. You let loose a primal squeak, twisting and thrashing your mouse body viciously. Kennedy utters a little shriek of delight. Yes, exactly! Fantastic! Talk once more to Kennedy. Thanks again, says Kennedy. Sometimes Brittany forgets to say thank you, but she has a lot on her plate. I understand, you tell her. Try talking to Mingus. Why'd you shoot Brittany? Asks Mingus. Her judgment was impaired by a shard of the Mirror of Belial that someone from the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls managed to place in her eye. I'm starting to suspect that Miss Havisham is trying to pull together a crop of new members. I've adapted a handgun technique I learned from Loretta Fox to destroy these mirror shards with purifying fire. I understand if it looks upsetting. It's not very pleasant for me, either. Mingus stopped paying attention a while ago. We'll transform again. You take another deep breath. You feel stretched out, expanded, huge. But when it's over, you're a young lady again. Cool trick, Brittany muttered. Cool trick, Brittany mutters. We talk to her again. Are you sure you'll be okay until the storm passes? For sure. I needed some quiet meditation time anyway. If I get hungry, I'll just cook up some Mingus. She scritches the Gator's head. J.K. Mingus. J.K. Well, I think that's everything up here. Let's go ahead and wear tail. You pull the mermaid's tail over your legs, then carefully you lower yourself into the water. And let's swim to the east. Oh, no, excuse me. The only way to go would be north. And then we go east. And then we go south to another platform. Nothing here. We go north and east again to the tunnel. And east once more to sewer tunnel. Hi, buddy. Yeah. A rusty ladder connects the manhole above to a concrete platform overlooking a massive torrent, rushing from west to east. Dire Shadow and Amy are posted here. Well, asks Amy. I convinced Brittany not to go through with it, you tell her. Dire Shadow slumps over in relief. She's going to wait out the storm with the gators and head back when it's safe. Amy takes a step toward you. How'd you convince her? I'd rather not get into it. Sure. I am struggling with reading today for some reason. Let's go ahead and wake. Go back to London. So now that we know how to rage, we can go down to the basement. No, this was not the time to go rambling about London. We go back in. We go north into the house. Oh, I'm still wearing the mermaid's tail. She wasn't going anywhere as long as she had a mermaid's tail instead of legs. Remove tail. She removed the mermaid's tail, revealing her original legs. Now we go north into the sitting room. Now we go down to the basement. Now we transform. And now we wait. Once more, all of a sudden, and yet not quite unexpectedly, Puss the cat sprang out of the darkness and pounced upon little Ebenezer-Beth. In an instant, she had the little yellow mouse trapped in her claws. Now we use our new technique to rage. She let loose a primal squeak, twisting and thrashing her mouse body viciously. The outburst took Puss quite by surprise. The animal was not clear across the basement. And though Ebenezer was a bit discomposed herself by the process, she did not fail to notice the mirror shard that had come dislodged from Puss's mouth and now lay on the basement floor. Puss recovered quickly from the shock, as cats always do. "Sorry," she squeaked, and then she scampered upstairs without a backward glance. We transform. And looking at the shard, like many of its brothers, the mirror shard was so thin as to be invisible except to a trained eye. Ebenezer carefully picked up the mirror shard, knowing that they were dangerous things to leave lying around, and considering that she may find some use for it in the future. Okay, well, we've now resolved all of the possessed individuals, I believe, so let's go back up. "Puss just ran up to your room," said Ebenezer. "She seems quite recovered from her fit of delinquency. Well done! By the way, I have a message for you, whenever you have a free moment." We talk to Ebenezer. "What's this about a message?" "Ah, yes." Ebenezer sat down his work. "Your friend Estella dropped by while you were out. She said she had discovered her mother, Miss Havisham, was returned to old Satis House, and was headed off to Rochester to face her. It seemed understood that you would wish to join her." "Certainly," said Ebenezer. "There's just one thing I need to take care of first." So, some time passes. Satis House. Now the rain was really pouring, and thunder resounded over the old estate, and with each peal the ancient mansion seemed as if it might all crumble into a mountain of rotten bricks. Ebenezer stood before the manor's threshold, looking up into its windows for some sign of Estella, but all the house was dark. What do we think she took care of first? If we look at her inventory, she still has everything the same, so it's not as though she picked something up or dropped something off. We examine the house. Most of the mansion's windows were walled up or rustily barred. Those that weren't shattered opened to the pelting rain. The front door stood open. We scan the house. "Mansion analysis. Market value declining by the minute. Oh, but you're probably more interested in these very faint heat signatures. Someone went in there like an hour or two ago." Squeeze pendant. She squeezed the pendant, but she wasn't able to see any better. We go in. Parlor. A cold wind blew through the house, rustling the drapes and the cobwebs. Over every piece of furniture and every bit of floor there was a thick layer of dust. A creaking wraith-like voice raised itself to be heard over the rain. "Welcome, Ebenezer Scrooge." "Miss Havisham," Ebenezer called, "I'd like to speak to you." Of course, of course. Come here, little girl," the voice answered. It was coming from upstairs. Examine the drapes. The curtains of the house were mildewed and filthy. We scan them. "This is gross. Why would you make me scan this?" Examine the cobwebs. Anywhere her glance fell, another cobweb appeared. We scan the cobwebs. Yes, it's super creepy. Let's get going. We try going up. The hall corridors... We are now in a hallway. The corridors of the house all looked the same to Ebenezer. There was no sign here of Estella or her mother. "Miss Havisham," she called out to the house, "I think you ought to stop using these mirror shards." "Why ever would I do that, dearie?" The answer came from the east wing. We go east to the east wing. A chilly breeze followed Ebenezer down the hall. Those shards have caused a great deal of suffering to the people you've used them on, and to their loved ones. Oh, but little girl, I'm willing to cause any amount of suffering if it serves my purposes. The door to the southeast. Dusty room. But the shards don't really serve your purposes either, Ebenezer said, walking slowly inside. You might be able to recruit a lot of new naughty little girls under false pretenses, but they won't remain loyal to you after the shard's effects wear off. The room was very dark, and on the air was the odor of candles that had just gone out. At the far end sat Miss Havisham, her bridal veil hanging over her like a great spider web. I squeezed the pendant. But I don't want lots of new members, dearie. I'm really only interested in one. Ebenezer drew her fingers round the tiger's eye pendant, and the darkness dissolved. She saw a spider crawling over Miss Havisham's withered arm. And she saw Estella Havisham rush out of the shadows to press a rag over Ebenezer's mouth. Oh, well. This rather backfired. We appear to be awakening. She's coming around now. No, she's just groaning in her sleep. You open your eyes for an instant. See, she's awake. Then squeeze them shut again. Your head really hurts. Where am I? Whiteleaf Caverns, 1946. And more importantly, you are among friends. Oh, excuse me. This is part of dialogue. Why, you are in Whiteleaf Caverns, 1946, and more importantly, you are among friends, the executive board of the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls. Well, let's look for ourselves. You don't want to open your eyes. One thing to get out of the way first. Do you ladies know that Estella killed Miss Havisham? Of course. To advance in our organization, one often must clear her own way. You yourself pursued the same strategy. What? She's disoriented, someone offers. We try to listen. You kind of wish you couldn't hear anything right now. I'm referring to the Snow Queen, the flinty voice explains. Since you killed her, you're entitled to her position on the board, although you'll also be expected to chair all of her committees. I didn't kill the Snow Queen. I lost her outside of the universe somewhere. Oh, well, I'd say it amounts to the same thing. Murmurs of agreement. We're happy to accept your application regardless. You try to think of something to say. I'm not joining your sisterhood, you grumble. Why not? Estella's voice. Aren't you tired of being nice all the time? Couldn't you accomplish so much more if you could do it the naughty way, with all of our naughty resources at your disposal? You rub your head. I thought the nice-naughty dichotomy was a fabrication of patriarcho-nomism. Someone sniffs. Estella, you told us our guest would be amenable. Think? You don't even want to open your eyes. Your head really, really hurts. Estella tried her best. You force your eyes open in spite of yourself. She caught me at a really low moment. She hid a mirror shard in this cute capelet she gave me, and she made me shoot several of my friends, which I really did not like to do. I wasn't planning on you shooting them, Estella mutters. But no, sorry, I'm not going to turn evil. I guess I'm... You shake your head. You can't say it. Oh, okay, so there was a mirror shard in the capelet. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, this is an aspect of this that I'd kind of forgotten about. So, this was Ebenezer speaking. So she confirms that Estella tried her best. She caught me at a really low moment. She hid a mirror shard in this cute capelet she gave me, and she made me shoot several of my friends, which I really did not like to do. I wasn't planning on you shooting them, Estella mutters. But no, sorry, I'm not going to turn evil. I guess I'm... You shake your head. You can't say it. but it's true, isn't it? I guess I'm a good person, you say, sitting up straight, and I wouldn't have believed it if Estella hadn't given me a chance to prove it to myself. Thank you, Estella. The members of the executive board glance at each other as you hop off of the conference table. Boardroom. A subterranean river cuts through the black rock and cascades into an echoing chasm. On this side of the waterway are the conference table, the big board, and the members of the executive board. On the other side, the Sisterhood's space-time threshold floats over a marble dais. So there's a lot going on here. Let's examine the river. The river is wide and the current is strong. The water is clear as glass, as you expect in a cave like this. We try scanning the river. This water is full of minerals and it's really, really cold. I am programmed to understand that it would be delicious. Examine the table. The long table is shaped a bit like a pair of lips, evoking the soupy logo, but this might be a coincidence. We scan the table. I'm detecting multiple tiny holes in the table where people have stabbed daggers into it dramatically. These have been filled in with putty and painted over. Examine the big board. Oh, they mean the executive board. So which do you mean? Valerie Solanas, Salome, Miranda St. Clair, Anais Nin, Imelda Marcos, Vera Marcal, Estella Havisham, Frances Griffiths, Marjorie Cameron, Elizabeth Allen, or the big board. So, I recognize some of these names, but I would like to go ahead and just, for the sake of completeness, let's examine them all in turn. First, externally. So Valerie, an American radical feminist known for her attempt to murder the artist Andy Warhol in 1968. Okay. So she's one of Warhol's group. Interesting. Then we've got Salome. Also known as Salome III, was a Jewish princess, the daughter of Herod II and Princess Herodias. She was a granddaughter of Herod the Great and stepdaughter of Herod Antipas. She is known from the New Testament, where she is not named, and from an account by Josephus. Okay. Oh, wait, Miranda is a socialite and the wife of mayoral candidate Warren St. Clair. Mr. Monk and the candidate. Oh, Picnic at Hanging Rock film. A Australian mystery drama film. Okay. Anais Din. Angela Anais Juana Antolina Rosa Edelmira Nin Ikumel was a French-born American diarist, essayist, novelist, and writer of short stories and erotica. Imelda Marcos. Filipino politician who was First Lady of the Philippines. Wielding significant political power after her husband Ferdinand Marcos placed the country under martial law in September 1972. Vera Marcal. Is not a name I recognize, but appears to be contemporary. Stella Havisham was the significant character in Great Expectations. Like the protagonist Pip, Stella is introduced as an orphan, but where Pip was raised by his sister and her husband to become a blacksmith, Stella was adopted and raised by the wealthy and eccentric Miss Havisham. Yes. We have Frances Griffiths. Cottingley Fairies. The Cottingley Fairies appear in a series of 5 photographs taken by Elsie Wright and Frances Griffiths, 2 young cousins who lived in Cottingley near Bradford in England. Okay. Marjorie Cameron. Professionally used the mononym Cameron, was an American artist, poet, actress, and occultist. A Follower of Thelema, the new religious movement established by the English cultist Aleister Crowley. Okay. Elizabeth Allen. She's an American theater, television, and film actress and singer whose 40-year career lasted from the mid-1950s through the mid-1990s, included scores of TV episodes and theatrical features. Huh. All right. So that's the people who make up the board. Let's actually examine them. We examine Valerie. She watches you with unrestrained disgust from within her cloud of cigarette smoke. Scan Valerie. Valerie Solanas, community organizer, threat level, medium-low, abilities, charisma, I guess, mood, grumpy. Examine Salome. She's trying hard to seem bored by all of this. We scan her. Salome, princess of Judea, threat level, medium, abilities, dancing, ruthlessness, mood, perturbed. Miranda. Looking into Miranda's eyes, you're overcome by a feeling of vertigo. You shake your head and look away. We scan Miranda. Miranda St. Clair. Question. What the heck? I can't get a read on her at all. Threat level, steer clear just to be safe. Mood, extremely spooky. Examine Anais Nin. Anais watches you with a sadistic smile, like the smile Puss wore when she had you in her claws. We scan her. Anais Nin, diarist, threat level, diarist, abilities, having sex, writing about it. There was Imelda Marcos. Imelda looks like she wants to snap your neck. You get the impression that she wasn't interested in you joining the Sisterhood in the first place. We scan Imelda. Imelda Marcos, extremely rich, threat level, middling, abilities, boring political stuff, immense wealth, weaknesses, delusions of grandeur, shoes. Let's examine Vera. Vera leans theatrically over the conference table. Her dress is like a film of liquid gold. If she doesn't hold just the right pose, it might pour right off her body. Scan Vera. Vera Marcal, intelligence specialist, threat level, considerable, abilities, honeypot tactics, psyops, sexy assassination, mood, unknown. Examine Stella. Back in the alley, she gave a convincing performance of pain and anger and confusion. Now, the look in Estella's eyes is completely lucid, completely self-possessed. But she really is angry. She is angry at you in particular. Scan Estella. Estella Havisham, sneaky little brat. I can't believe she tricked us. Tricked me, at least. Me too, scanning lens. Me too. Scan Francis Griffith. Oh, excuse me. Francis Griffiths. At 13 or 14, Francis is the youngest member of the executive board, and she has the most to prove. She is really itching for a chance to do something to you. We scan Francis. Francis Griffiths, little girl, threat level, ha ha ha. Abilities, arts and crafts, con artistry, weaknesses, innumerable, mood, petulant. Examine Marjorie. Marjorie has poured herself a drink. She is content to sit back and watch the others deal with you. We scan Marjorie. Marjorie Cameron, sorceress, threat level, medium high, abilities, sex magic, regular magic, third eye, weaknesses, extra-dimensional insight dependent on access to hallucinogens, immediately exploitable weaknesses, none spring to mind. Examine Elizabeth. Elizabeth Allen, the founder of the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls, is only about 17 years old. She watches you with interest, almost with amusement. She doesn't want to act. She wants to see what you do next. Scan Elizabeth. Elizabeth Allen, founder and president, SUPI. Threat level, do not engage. After discovering the space-time threshold in Whiteleaf Caverns, Allen assembled a criminal empire of the naughtiest girls from all of Earth's history. The abilities she has acquired during her meteoric rise to power are very worrying. Examine the big board. A giant map of the world hangs over the conference room, outlining the influence of the Sisterhood through the centuries. You can tell at a glance that it's long out of date. We scan the big board. Imagine what a pain it would be to update this map. You'd need a 30-foot ladder for one thing. The Sisterhood has a space-time threshold floating over a marble dais. We examine the dais first. The dais is just there to make it easier to walk up to the portal. We scan the dais. Guess what? Not real marble. Examine the threshold. A fissure full of rainbow light hangs in the air, surrounded by a constellation of shimmering needles. This is how the Sisterhood gets from place to place, from era to era. We scan the threshold. The shiny things floating around the portal are mirror shards. That's how they're able to stabilize the portal and control its destination. Sorry if this is obvious. No, that was not obvious to me. Thank you, scanning lens. Let's look at the waterway itself, because guess where we're going. The water is wide and the current is strong. The water is clear as glass, as you expect in a cave like this. Before we try diving in, I'd like to try and talk to our various observers. We try talking. This might not be a good time for a conversation. Okay, we're not going to be able to talk. So, let's... we wear the tail. You pull the mermaid's tail over your legs. And enter the waterway. The board members are content to let you wander around until one of them notices you're getting too close to the river. Imelda Marcos leaps out of her chair and twists your arms behind your back. She's stronger than she looks. I knew we shouldn't have trusted her. Shouldn't have trusted Estella in the first place. You hear a little huff of resentment from the conference table. Oh, just let her go, Imelda, someone whines. No, she's obviously not going to join us. We should kill her now. All right, well, it looks like we don't get to just jump into the river. We should transform. You close your eyes and inhale. Imelda yelps in shock as the little mouse falls to the floor in front of her, but several other board members pick up the slack, chasing you across the conference room while you skitter between legs and under chairs. And then a hand is around you. Gotcha! Aeneas Nin cries. Oh, you are a naughty girl indeed, but I think it's too late to reconsider your membership now. The other board members crowd in around you. Do we really have to kill her? She knows about our headquarters. She's seen the big board. We can hardly let her live. Well, it's time clearly to rage. You gather all your mouse strength and twist yourself violently out of Aeneas' clutches, squeaking with every ounce of mouse fury you can muster. Aeneas shrieks and tosses you across the room. You hit the floor painfully, sliding across the polished rock, stopping only when you bump into a grated air vent. We enter the vent. You slip through the grate. Francis Griffiths curses loudly. Ventilation shaft. A huge metal tube dimly illuminated through the grate behind you. The tunnel descends steeply into the depths of the Whiteleaf Caverns. Someone break it open! Someone yells. With what? Someone else yells. Hey, where's the temperature controls? Asks Valerie Solanas. Let's go down. The shaft keeps going down. A bitter wind rushes past you, filling the tunnel with frigid air. You can barely think, it's so cold. We transform. You take another deep breath. You feel stretched out, expanded, huge. But when it's over, you're a young lady again. Suddenly, the icy wind feels more like a tropical breeze. We continue going down. You aren't going anywhere as long as you have a mermaid's tail instead of legs. Remove tail. You remove the mermaid's tail, revealing your original legs. Now we continue down. Oh, it's too dark to continue down. Squeeze pendant. You squeeze the pendant, and the surrounding darkness becomes somehow transparent. Ventilation shaft. At the bottom of the shaft is a circular hatch. Examine the hatch. It's rather like a submarine hatch with a big wheel you have to turn. You scan the hatch. Access point between ventilation and liquid cooling system. Good luck, lady. Open the hatch. You spin the heavy wheel and open the hatch. Inside is a torrent of rushing water. We wear the tail. You pull the mermaid's tail over your legs, then carefully you lower yourself into the water. We continue further down into the pipe. This tunnel seems more spacious than the ventilation system. Maybe it's because you're floating. The current is powerful, tugging madly at your flaxen curls, but your tail is strong enough to handle it. A series of huge turbines are just downstream, spinning violently. The way upstream appears to be clear. Or you could climb back out to the ventilation shaft. Let's go upstream. You whip your tail forcefully and propel yourself up the tube. Great. The passage seems to widen up ahead, but the way upstream is blocked by a large metal grate. Examine the grate. Thick bars of rusty metal span the width of the tunnel. On one side is a hinge, on the other is a locking mechanism. Examine the mechanism. Scan mechanism. Gate prevents large objects from entering cooling system, hydroelectric system, etc. Let's unlock mechanism with key. You unlock the metal grate. Open it. The gate swings open, dislodging a folding chair that had been stuck on the other side. The chair is swept down the tunnel and out of sight. That's a little odd. We enter the grate to the underground lake. You fill your lungs with air and take a look around. This is the bottom of the chasm. All around you are steep walls of black rock. The conference room must be on that ledge high above, next to the edge of the waterfall that empties into this lake. Examine the waterfall. A majestic curtain of water spills into the lake from the ledge above. We scan the waterfall. It's impressive how cohesive the water is all the way down. I think that's called laminar flow. Well, we heard we could do this. Let's try. Swim up waterfall. You're not strong enough to swim up this waterfall, but your sister Eunoia is. You whip your tail, your sister's tail, back and forth, picking up speed. You swim straight into the wall of water, and then up and up and up, faster and faster, cutting smoothly through the current, straight up to the lip of the falls, and up into open air. Below you, on one side, are the members of the executive board of the Universal Sisterhood of Naughty Little Girls. They are surprised to see you. On the other side is the Sisterhood's space-time threshold, surrounded by its stabilizing field of little silver needles. Focus. You focus your will effortlessly. Shoot threshold. You twist yourself into position and fire. Blinding radiance fills the cavern. The mirror shards are incinerated, and the dimensional fissure begins to wobble uncertainly. You are weightless. Your mind is clear. Before you start falling back to Earth, you wake up. It was very late at night. Ebenezer Scrooge was asleep in his bed, and his book of figures lay open on his bedside table. Not quite summed up, never completely finished. Riemann the Crow was asleep in his birdcage. Or was he only pretending to sleep? No, it was no performance. He had stayed up past his usual bedtime, listening to stories of how the day had passed. He would undoubtedly sleep until some unconscionable hour the next morning. Puss the cat was asleep, curled up into a perfect oval, the tip of her tail clutched between her little paws. She had listened to the stories too, some of them. Or she was content to have her belly rubbed and her chin scritched while stories were being told. But before the tale was halfway finished, she had retreated to the foot of the bed and fallen fast asleep. Ebenezer Scrooge was awake. She was not anxious or regretful. She was simply happy, and felt it was wisest to enjoy her happiness for a while before she closed her eyes and turned the page of tomorrow. So she looked out her window at the dark city and took small bites from her chocolate bar and was happy. The end. Would you like to restart, restore a save game, quit, or undo the last command? Well, this was a delightful little story. I enjoy very much the glimpse of the Universal Sisterhood that we got here and their troublesome antics. I especially liked getting to use all of our tools that we got to acquire during the previous games. So this was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me as we played through, and let's call it there for now.